Right edition, welcome, happy day. I want to talk today about Canada. I want to talk about the Indians in Canada, the Canadian Indians, Aboriginals, First Nations, Natives. I don't know, it's so darn many terms, but I'm going to refer to them as Indians simply because that's what they were called when I was a kid growing up, and none of them took offense, and a lot of my best friends were in fact Indian. So we're going to go with that. The government in Canada, the Liberal government, they amaze me. I mean, Indians for the most part don't even vote, and Trudeau, he's doing everything he can to buy their vote. I think he's doing it for that reason. I don't know what his reasoning is. I got to tell you, about 1% of all Canadians are actually Indians. It's probably far less than that, and it rises up to about 3% with all the redheads and the blonde people and everybody else who says, I'm an Indian now, give me checks and give me more money. And it's a real problem. We need to be treated the same, all Canadians, and our government is racist against everybody else that isn't part of a little weak group. And so many people now, when they listen to this ramble here today, they're going to say, he's a racist. That would be me, right? I don't care what color you are. I am a racist with regard to culture. We got to be treated the same. Don't say you're different and you're better and you can speak this and you get this check. That's just not right. It's improper, it's immoral, and it's just bloody corrupt. And now you have a government in Canada who keeps on saying, let's give the Indians everything. Where does that come from? It can only come from you and from me, assuming you're not an Indian. I know people who are as white as I am. They don't even know, didn't know until recently that anyone in their family had any Indian blood, and now they're saying, and they're rich, a lot of these people. Now my kids get free university. Ha ha, your kids don't. I got a little bit of Indian in me. They're taking advantage of the system. It's wrong. And recently, the Supreme Court of Canada said 600,000 Métis people with mixed blood in them are now considered Indians. Okay? Duh. And now we get to work with them. And Indians, they have so much power now in Canada. You can't do any development or anything unless you go to them and say, is it okay? They're in control of everything. They're controlling roads and lands and monies and Indians. The Indian Act, it wasn't set up for this. I mean, I got reservations about Indians. Wow. I mean, reservations were put together so Indians could grow and assimilate into culture, okay? And now you got a whole, like a commune, and now you got a whole bunch of Indians on reservations that actually own land. And they're getting to be zillionaires. And they don't pay taxes. We pay taxes, they don't pay any taxes. And here, let me give you an example. Recently, as in last week, Quebec, in this particular article that calls him an Aboriginal man, he repeatedly burned a 5-year-old girl with a cigarette, leaving permanent scars in her face, arms, and legs, and other areas of her body. This was an assault that caused 27 third-degree burns, 25 from cigarettes and 2 from a lighter. So this wacko sat there, cigarettes, and was a 5-year-old child. Wow, is he a terrorist? What is he? In any event, the Crown came along in court and said, we need to give this guy 4 years in jail. 4? I would have hung him. Let's give him 4 years in jail. The judge said, hold it now. He grew up in an abusive household. He was a legacy of residential school abuse suffered by his grandparents, because this guy is like in his early 20s. And I conclude that 4 years sought by the Crown is excessive in light of the accused Aboriginal heritage. He got 18 months in jail. He'll be out walking around with a cigarette lighter in his hand in a few months. They have different laws. They have different everything. Are you getting heated yet? This is wrong. This ain't right. And recently also, the Supreme Court of Canada said that everything Harper has done in the past is wrong, and we're going to kick it out. So either Harper and his Conservative government are real stupid, or the Liberals are real smart, because everything that they did didn't seem to comply, right? The tough on crime bill was kicked out, and the this and the that, and the one I'm getting to, I want to refer to, is the Indian one with the Transparency Act, I think it was called, whereas you got to know how the Indians spent the money that the government or taxpayers, I guess, gave them. The Liberals, the first order of business that they did when they got elected is they scrapped that law. Now there's no way to know where these zillions of dollars are going. Chiefs are making millions of dollars a year governing 80 people that the white guy's already governing, because this goes on and on. The next step now to self-government, get this one. The government is talking about replacing all the subsidies with the GST. GST is a goods and service tax that Canadians have enjoyed for several years now. I mean, the Conservative government actually brought that in, another communist plot. In any event, a fraudulent communist plot. In any event, it's happening now. They're actually talking, believe it or not, this is very close to happening, where every GST receivable amount that is received by the government gets paid to the Indians. Okay? So if you're a white guy and you buy a stick of gum and you pay GST on that, that money is remitted in its entirety to an Indian. Okay? How do you like that? I don't like that so much. I kind of think that's not very nice. And developers are in trouble now as well, across the land, because they wanted to develop buildings and high-rises and different things. And all of a sudden, they have to go and ask approval to the Indians. Really? People with no experience? Really? And now we got all of these new Indians, the 600,000 Métis people, who are under the same umbrella as an Indian. I mean, somebody's got to fix this. Again, they don't pay taxes. Why is that? It's never been said in a treaty that they wouldn't pay taxes. Oh, pardon me, it was said that. But at the same time, white people didn't have to pay taxes. Nobody paid taxes. And then one day, we had a war, World War I, and the governments came along and said, hey, all you white guys, we're going to separate you from the Indians, and you have to pay taxes just for a little while. It's a temporary tax, but you got to do it to fund the war. Ever since then, of course, we keep on paying the Indians. They keep on getting. Is this fair? This is about fair. Is it fair? Is it right? Hey, think about that, will you? And don't call me names. Don't call me a racist. This is about being equal. Everybody needs to be treated the same. We got to be on the same field. Are we? Is our government in Canada racist towards anybody who's not part of a little special group? Do you think? See ya.